How do I see her life? I see her trying new things all the time.
Maybe the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Wow.
Max is over there taking a shit.
She's doing it differently than our parents did life and differently than I'm doing it. But I don't think that's a bad thing.
I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, not in the mountains at all. I was really intense about swimming.
5-7.
I played a lot of other sports growing up, but swimming just stuck.
7-2.
You have to be so hyper vigilant and detailed about the technique, like the angle in which your hand enters the water, the rotation of your body. It's very hyper focused. And so there's like this numbing kind of quiet effect.
And it's still DeMonte from Ann Arbor.
After 4 years of college swimming, a couple Olympic trials, I was really burned out. I thought, I think I might be happier out west. I just climbed and skied as much as possible. I was a beginner for sure. I remember skiing at Alta on a pair of borrowed skis, boots that were too small, and I looked across and I saw Mount Superior, and the person I was with said, "People ski that."
Good job, Anna.
I just remember being like, that's what I want to do. I did have like a typical 9 to 5, though it was during COVID times, so it was remote. I definitely took advantage of that. Even though I don't think I was doing anything necessarily against the rules, but it was kind of this balancing act of like, oh, I'm kind of living a little bit of a double personality. You know, if your corporate boss knows how passionate you are about these dangerous sports, they might start to question your commitment to the company. Maybe that was pretty irrational at the time, but it's probably only gotten worse over the years as I've become more intense with the sports.
Part of me is always nervous. She's really doing things as someone who doesn't really have the same types of hobbies. They seem very dangerous.
I think my family does have warranted concerns and fears because they have experienced a death in the family in an avalanche, and we have their daughter wanting to ski the exact same things. It became a lot more like, don't talk about mountains with your family, especially through the Mont Blanc objective. I went to France for a work conference. My partner, Jack, and I met in Chamonix after the work trip, stayed in Chamonix all winter, and trained for the FKT on skis from the church in the center of town to the top of Mont Blanc and back. That was the height of misunderstanding, I'd say. There's been a long time where I've tried to shape-shift to make everybody happy, and I remember that was like a very decisive point. It's also really liberating to know this is me, and I don't think I want to fit a square into a circle anymore.
It's beautiful. I can't believe it. That's the summit. All right, here we go.
It reminded me a lot of that feeling in the water. Very hypervigilant about where you're going. And at the same time, there's this like deep calm and quiet. Doing the Mont Blanc FKT, it was the first time since college swimming that I chose to be competitive.
So Zach and I, our plan was...
It made me feel really excited about other similar objectives like that.
we would fly into Anchorage this night, the night of the 18th, Sunday the 18th. That could be good for your work. Yeah.
I think Mont Blanc allowed me to unlock that competitive side of myself, which I really want to nurture more. And I was like, well, what's the women's FKT on Denali? And to be honest, Denali was always what I wanted to do. We spent most of the winter in Chamonix, and we spent the month before Denali in Breckenridge, living at 10,000 feet in Summit County. 15 plus hours a week, ski touring, lapping the Quandary Peak 14er multiple times a day, and doing things like measuring our hemoglobin and hematocrit. All of this was happening while I was still working remote, so I would take calls in the morning like I do now, and the second they were done, I would do the 3-4 hours of training, exhausted, come to bed, try to plan the logistics. Executing the record time, I was 200% confident in my ability to do that. I remember flying onto the glacier was very surreal. It's more beautiful, more vast terrain than I could have imagined. I think a lot of people probably say that. We've just landed on the glacier. Maybe the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, that flight. Wow. No one can talk to me now on Slack. Nobody can text me anymore. Like, now I'm ready to do the thing I wanted to do and no one's gonna bother me. And I was with my two closest people around. Max's cheesy pepperoni bowls. And Denali is much higher altitude. It's much colder. It's much more dangerous in many ways. You're on the glacier the entire time. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like camping that much.
Yeah, take the shield away. Yeah.
Fucking hell. It sounds miserable to be cold all the time and sleep in a tent and be lugging up this weight, but honestly, it was a lot of fun. We got Mr. Wendy's, Mr. McDonald's in here. You should have only needed one. Let's be honest here. We are at 15.6 and we're going to go up Rescue Gully to see how the crevasse situation looks. It's right up there. I'm starting to get really worried about the weather coming in, and I'm looking at my calendar. I'm Garmin inReaching my sister asking for weather updates. I'm starting to get a little bit neurotic about the timing. It was really this like push and pull of like, I am so confident that I can do this, but that also there was this big cloud looming over me that like, I only have 3 weeks. Everything has to go perfectly.
Hard to breathe.
But obviously I have the stress of the work, and then I knew my family was really worried and they didn't really want to hear about it, and I knew they wanted me to get back soon.
I think it'll be fine, but
That whole stress of that kind of overshadowed my confidence in my physical ability.
take a look up at the rest of the route.
But I agreed to go scout this line, and we would do it in the morning, just Jack and I. The weather was rolling in, and we decided to turn around. I definitely had this moment of like, I just want to get back down, and you kind of start to lose a little bit of your sharpness when you move into that state of mind.
Okay. Here we go.
I made some aggressive ski turns. And I remember looking kind of over my shoulder to just see if Jack had the rope, and that one little mistake of kind of looking out of my fall line caused me to have like a little wobble. And I thought to myself, That's probably not good.